In this lecture, we will focus on marketing. We will cover different marketing methods, but just note that most of them are absolutely useless for people starting a new business, except for guerrilla marketing. This is the best method and should be the starting point for everyone looking to build a new business. The goal of marketing is simple. Get in front of your customers to present your product or service. Doing it cheaply through creative ways is called guerrilla marketing. For example, standing at a drive-thru at a Tim Hortons and giving free samples of your product is guerrilla marketing because the drive-thru is a place for Tim Hortons customers, so you're standing on their property to sell your own business, leveraging their resources to attract customers to you without spending money to bring people there. There are ways big companies also do guerrilla marketing, and here are a few different examples. Your goal is to spend very little money to get customers that pay a lot more money. It's that simple. This type of way to get customers is a lot cheaper than spending money on ads. Here's an analogy. At the time of this video, the United States does not own Greenland. So if they wanted to take over Greenland, they would slowly increase troops in Greenland. They would put in US mining companies, and the US mining companies would pay huge amounts of community grants to the 50,000 local Greenlanders. Then they would start a separatist movement by financing separatist leaders. Maybe there is a strange Russian submarine with a bomb on it nearby. Then US steps in as a peacekeeper who needs to respect indigenous rights and provide protection and security. The soldiers believe they are fighting for their country while they're actually doing work for the financial elite corporations who have strategies to avoid paying significant taxes. Remember, the government is for the elite corporations' best interest, not for the people. Now you've got billions of dollars of minerals and resources that you can harvest through your mining companies. And you've got 25,000 soldiers on the ground, and you've done it. There will still be some protests, but you've got what you wanted. Another way the US could take Greenland is just by sending a ton of troops there, but then they face massive backlash and reputational damage globally. Other countries start allying against the US and it becomes a lot more expensive for the US. Guerrilla marketing is where strategy meets creativity to get you customers for cheap, which beats the boring traditional marketing that everyone else is doing. Let's see a live example. This is a Tim Hortons coffee shop next to a gas station. A group of people decided to use this place to raise money. But to do this legally, they are pretending to be friends, casually walking together with a poster in their hand and approaching people refueling their car. The second squad is located at the start of the drive-thru. A third squad has a table with posters set up and they're pretending to just be standing, which is also allowed. The Tim Hortons staff and manager ask them to leave politely, but they can't do much else because what these people are doing is legal. You are allowed to stand in the parking lot and talk to friends. Now, what if you're the business owner and the people doing guerrilla marketing on your property are somehow hurting your business? How do you get rid of them? You could call some friends to help. One group shows up fundraising for a different cause. Another group shows up fundraising for a completely different cause. Now the parking lot is filled with different people fundraising for different causes, and the group you wanted off your property has so much competition they get lost in the noise. Your number one goal as a new business owner is speed and efficiency. Too many people get stuck here overanalyzing and getting stuck in analysis paralysis instead of taking action. Getting in front of customers quickly and cheaply, you can beat 80% of competitors. Expect that things will fail, but you'll figure out a new or different way to make things work and adapt your strategy. Once you decide on which customer type you want to go after, you need to figure out what their needs are or problems are. Let them talk 80% of the time, and you should only spend 20% of the time asking questions. Customer discovery means talking to people and listening to understand what they need. You ask questions like, what's hard for you? What do you wish was easier? Pain points are the problems that annoy or frustrate people. Something is confusing, it takes too long, it costs too much money. It needs to be something people are willing to pay for right now because they really need it. Use cases or examples are how people would actually use your product in real life. For example, I'd use this to finish homework faster. I'd use this to save money. So the big idea is talk to people, find their problems, build something that helps them. An ideal customer profile is a description of the perfect person for your product. An example for a homework app is a middle school student who has lots of homework uses a tablet and wants to finish work faster. So an ideal customer profile means who is this product best for? Once you have talked to dozens, if not hundreds of customers and found a common problem you can solve that they would urgently pay money for, spend no more than 2 weeks building a basic product that can get into their hands so you can get feedback from them. This is where a minimal viable product comes in. It's the simplest version of something you want to build that works. Imagine you make a new video game, but instead of building the whole game with levels, music, characters, you first make just one level to see if people like it. That first simple version is the minimal viable product, also known as the MVP. It's useful because you build it fast in 2 to 3 weeks, you see people like it, you learn what to improve next. A regular funnel is used to help liquid go into a small opening without spilling. You pour liquid into the wide top and the funnel guides it down into a narrow bottle or container. It makes pouring easier, cleaner, and less messy, especially when the opening is tiny. Think of this like a funnel for making a sale, where lots of people start at the top and only a few end up buying your product or service. Lead inquiry is when someone shows interest. For example, they visit a website or ask a question about your product or service. Marketing qualified lead is when marketing thinks this person might really be interested. They clicked emails, watched a video, or signed up for something. A sales qualified lead is salesperson talks to the customer and confirms they're actually serious about buying your product or service. They have the money, they need the product right now, and they want to buy soon. Opportunity, a real chance to make a sale. So this is when the customer is actually looking to select which option is best for them or talk about price. When you finally find somebody who wants the product and is willing to pay for it right now, then they end up buying the product. That's a win. Hundreds or thousands of people will inquire about your product or service, but only a few will actually end up buying it. You need to understand this is natural, so you don't get discouraged thinking your product or service is the problem. You need to figure out how people will know about your product and that it exists. This is called awareness. Next, how will they decide your product helps them with what they need? Keep it simple and clear. Then, how will they pay for the product? Next, can you really please them so they are happy and willing to recommend your product to other people that they know who might need it? You can give discounts or referrals or profit share to encourage advocacy. The old marketing and sales funnel is where marketing handed off the customer to the salesperson once a potential customer was found. But now in the business world, marketing does most of the work to confirm the customer wants to buy your product or service, and then the salesperson comes in to convince the customer to buy it. These salespeople are called closers because they help close the sales deal. Cold calling is the second best way to get customers, and it involves calling people on the phone to ask if they need your product or service. We will talk more about this in the sales lecture of the video. Email marketing is the third best way to get customers. You're sending thousands of emails a day to customers to build your sales funnel of people interested in your product. But it's a lot harder than people realize, because if you watch my lecture video on how to get customers, you'll know that you have a lot of competition. Plus, you need buyer intent and a good quality list of people who really want your product. You need an email account to send emails, but if you start sending hundreds of emails in one day, all your emails will automatically go to spam and the customer will never actually see your emails. If your company's main website is yourcompany.com, buy email domains that are variations of your main site, like this example. Cloudflare is usually the best place to buy domains because they are low priced and protect your personal information. Then you need a software that will send dozens or hundreds of emails a day to the potential list of customers. MailChimp is a good example, and so is instantly.ai. Now, for every single email address you want to use to send emails, you need to set up 3 things, or else all your emails will go to spam. These 3 things are called SPF policy, DKIM records, and DMARC records. The next part is very important. You need to warm up your email domain because you can't start sending out dozens or even hundreds of emails a day. You need to start by sending 10 a day, every day from Monday to Friday, and each week add 2 to 3 more emails. This way, you slowly start to build what's called domain reputation, allowing you to send more emails per day without your emails automatically going into the spam folder. Instantly.ai has an automatic warm-up process for helping with this, and their software also helps tracking all emails across different email accounts in one place instead of logging into different email accounts to see whether a customer responded or not. This is how much it costs for one email account. The way you write the email can also get your emails sent to the spam folder. Try not to put any website links in your email and avoid certain words like free, act now, or putting images in the email. Keep it natural and keep your emails less than 230 characters long. People don't have time to read long emails and they won't reply to you. If you need good email templates to use, then you can find them under the free resources section after you pass the founder exam. Instead of paying dozens or hundreds of dollars a month for emails or software, you can use ZeroInput's email addresses to send thousands of emails on your first day instead of needing to buy emails and doing warm-ups, which gets very expensive. You give us the customer emails you want to send emails to and the email you want to send, and we will email the customers and let you know when there's a response. Once again, I do not recommend wasting time or money on emails, especially when you're starting out. You can also buy email lists from ZeroInput, but keep in mind, the email list is just meant to help you understand more about your customers. It won't lead to sales. In general, you want to send 6 to 7 emails to one person until they reply, or until you decide to pass on them. Search engine optimization is the fourth best way to get customers. Search engine optimization is where you try to get your website or product to be closer to the top of the result that a user sees when they search for a specific keyword or word that describes your product. I don't recommend it because it takes a lot of skill, time, and money. We're talking months or years of time before you see results. So just keep this one in the back of your mind. Different chatbots like ChatGPT also recommend products now, so you can try to get your products recommended there as well. Acquisition is where you're paying for ads on social media platforms to get customers. I won't go into detail about this because I've already talked about this in my lecture video, How to Get Customers. LinkedIn marketing is where you're creating content on LinkedIn like posts or commenting on other people's posts to promote your product or service directly or indirectly. I've also talked about this in my How to Get Customers lecture video, but I'll share some ways you can effectively do LinkedIn marketing better than the masses, even though I don't recommend you waste any time on LinkedIn. You always want to do something different from the crowd or masses to stand out to your customers. Controversy marketing is where you present an urgent opinion-filled polarizing post to trigger engagement from other people so that the LinkedIn algorithm recommends your post to other people because the engagement is high. Anti-marketing marketing is another way to stand out where you present content that is unexpected and reverse psychology, and these marketing styles stand out from the crowd and spark discussions, which makes the LinkedIn algorithm recommend your post to more people. For example, you post that you spent a large part of your budget on posters to promote hoverboards in Nigeria. Let's be real. No one in Nigeria cares about fancy toys of the West because people are mostly busy trying to make a living there. So it's a dumb idea to waste money on marketing this product to this audience. So a lot of people on LinkedIn will comment about how silly this idea is or question why you thought this was a good idea to begin with. What they don't know is that you're indirectly building an audience who's engaging with your company and getting to know about you. Make your banner on LinkedIn clear who your target audience or customers are. What you do briefly through your tagline, and it's usually a short one-liner in your profile. How you do it, and show social proof or trust, such as here are some companies that you helped. Next, you want to create content that your customers really care about. You create posts, and when you're starting out, it's better to comment on other people's new posts who have way more audience and large followers that gets a lot more engagement because your comment will be seen by these larger groups of audience, and it's much more likely to get more visibility than if you created your own posts. These are large influencers, their posts go viral, so your comment becomes visible to a large group of people. I call it riding the wave. You also want to post things that genuinely help other people. things that aren't obvious and beneficial and unlikely to be found elsewhere. This helps build credibility and trust. The attention of followers becomes something you can turn into revenue. This is why athletes and celebrities get paid to promote different products, from toothpaste to coffee brands to life insurance and more. You want to write your LinkedIn posts and comments in a way that is engaging and eye-catching, so the first few words catch the reader's attention. Here are 3 different ways that a LinkedIn post is written, and notice how take 3 is unique, original, and hooks you a lot better than the other 2. When your ideal customer type engages with your LinkedIn post through likes, comments, reposts, profile views, connection requests, you want to direct message them as quickly as possible before they forget who you are. Here is some vocabulary that you need to be familiar with as an aspiring business owner. In the next few videos, we'll talk about investors and fundraising, so some of these terms will make more sense later on if you need other people's money to build your business, and if your business is actually worth investing in. 95% of businesses don't get investor money, and we will talk about that in our fundraising lecture video. If you need some guerrilla marketing ideas for your business, you can use Zero Sensei, which is an option visible to you after you pass the founder exam. If you need some ideas for guerrilla marketing, Zero Sensei can help.